What's up, my otakus? Hope everybody had a great weekend. Uh, these long weekends, you know, the holiday weekends especially, I know go by pretty quick. And so, hope everybody just had a nice, relaxing. And I say relaxing because I just feel like the majority of us, not to say everybody, but the majority of us are. I mean, we have a lot on our plate, right? We just getting up in the morning, and if you've got family, or if you're just maybe you're single, or you're alone, or whatever the case may be, just getting up and going through the motions and dealing with all the hey, what's up, Wellbore? uh Hope you had a great weekend. I know you don't have, I don't know if you have equivalent of a Thanksgiving break, but it was Thanksgiving here in the States. um but yeah, hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for popping in. This so just I just want to give a shout out to everybody who is just managing their life right now. it's just it's not an easy thing, especially in this environment where there's um kind of a pressure to perform at work. um there's obviously obligations, financial obligations you have to meet, and you got to budget everything, kind of micromanage that budget to make sure you know everything's set up for you down the road. So it's not an easy thing, no matter what stage of life you're in. But particularly, I think if you have kids and you're just you know taking care of them and making sure they they're growing up in a good environment and all that, that's just a lot to ask for uh, parents. And so, or just even if you're maybe a single parent, um it's a lot to deal with. So that's what I mean by I hope everybody had a relaxing weekend, because I really strongly feel like when you're away from work, when you're you know when you're away from work and you're with family, or you're doing things outside of work, it really should be a relaxing time. Now, my wife disagrees with that statement. She feels like I kind of take too much liberty, like I don't do enough in my downtime. But I like my downtime to be my downtime. So, you know, I feel like I have a good weekend when I'm able to just be in an environment where I'm relaxing and not stressing. So, with that being said, I had a great day today. We went over to a friend's house, had lunch, and just had a great conversation, which ran into the evening. And the kids were playing in the background and stuff. And again, it was a good time, good conversation. Um, and I just hope that's kind of what you experienced as well. Something that maybe took your mind off things, and you were able to just kind of kick back and relax. Another thing that helps me to relax is these comic books, going over the comic book, you know, um, collection with you guys, sharing that, and hopefully, just being able to kind of entertain you with books maybe you've never seen, or books you have in your collection, or either you share the same appreciation, or maybe you share a different perspective on what you collect and what you uh, focus on as a collector. Always have good to have good different perspectives, or same perspectives. But for whatever reason, if you're tuning in, this is a good one. This is as good as it gets when it comes to comic book cover art. And I honestly mean that. Because we're gonna focus on or showcase Michael Turner's work through his Superman related covers. And man, are you guys in for a treat because um, Michael Turner is somebody who um, is one of the most talented artists to have ever worked in comic books. And it's really sort of I think in any creative field, you have people with um, a very long career. You know, we just covered Kurt Swan, who had really just a long career with so much contribution to the industry and so much content to kind of read and enjoy. I mean, generations grew up on his work. Um, but also in every creative field. And I just want to focus on music for a little bit. You know, in music, I think the best example of uh, what would characterize Michael Turner's career is someone like Kurt Cobain, right? Kurt Cobain comes and is just a brilliant musician, and his life was just taken too soon. But what we're left with, not a lot of uh, content there, not a lot. In terms of performances and recordings and songs and whatnot, not a lot is there. But what is there can still be appreciated and enjoyed for generations to come. And I think those that have that like burst, where you're still young when you in terms of your career, you're young and then you pass and you die young and you're just remembered having never aged, right? Having never gotten to uh, certain stages in life. It makes it all the more bittersweet in terms of the legacy, but it also makes us pause, stop, and appreciate what we have more. Um, and that's the way I feel about like Michael Turner's career. Here's somebody who really came at um, he was kind of made his debut during a period when comic books were on the decline. Marvel was struggling financially. Uh, Image was going through its financial difficulties, and just uh, overall, the general public was just not interested in comic books, and you just saw readership fall off the board. But fortunately, these comic books are part of our larger uh, American culture, and um, it was because of artists like Michael Turner and people in the industry who really turned out a lot of quality, great work during this period of decline that continued to sustain readership and um, bring in new fans and hobbyists. Of course, the old school people who just love comic books and that never faded, they remained. But yeah, you had people like me who got into comic book collecting and then got out, didn't touch a comic book until later, much later in the return. Um, and that's one thing. Like by the time I was out, Michael Turner wasn't someone on my radar at all. In fact, I only learned of Michael Turner during a brief kind of, I just want to say it was like when I was kind of looking to come back into comic books in like the mid 2000s from overseas. I was kind of looking at comic books, reading comic books, um, dallying in comic books at that time. And I had noticed, there was an artist working on Superman. And again, his work, I was just like, oh, cool. That's really like interesting art, but it didn't really like catch my eye to the point where I wanted to get back into comic books. And so it wasn't until I really fully returned to comic books during the pandemic that I began to like really examine Michael Turner as an artist, and just come to appreciate again his genius, his talent, and yeah, again these top 5 artists now. I have Michael Turner at number 5, but I was really debating whether he should be higher. I was considering him moving him up a notch and putting my number 4 artist at the 5 spot, but um, I think even having him in number 5, it just speaks volumes as to how highly I um, consider um, how highly I consider his work. And we're gonna get to it now. All right, we're gonna do the top 10 Superman related books by Michael Turner now. So let me just pop my screen here. And starting at number 10, I just feel like this cover, even though this was a cover from 2005, I just feel like it's still like if you were to just introduce this artwork today, it would remain, relevant and um, as sharp as anybody working in the industry right now. And man, first off, look at the background. Just take a moment to appreciate the desert vista there that he has in the background. And then here the character of Lex um, in the power suit, as well as Kara's redesign. Now this redesign here, it's the Supergirl costume. I think it's a gift from Michael Turner. This is just his contribution to our imagination. And man, what a costume for Supergirl. That is absolutely what you want from a Supergirl costume. It's just magnificent. And so we're just starting off real strong here with number 10. This is the Supergirl number 3 variant by Turner. This run on Supergirl, he does a lot of the cover work on this, and boy, are we blessed to have this contribution here. Now, we had because again, Michael Turner came onto the scene in 94, and he passed, I believe, in 2007 or 2008. So we're talking about a little over a decade's worth of work. But I mean, actually, you can do quite a lot in a decade, and we're very fortunate as comic book fans to have a nice collectible body of work from Michael Turner. So I think Michael Turner's, some artists like Neil Adams, Jim Lee, they're very hard to collect just because of the longevity, just because of the body of work. Trying to collect everything that those two artists have done, it's daunting. But I feel like Michael Turner is one of those artists it can be daunting too, because again, he did a lot of independent stuff and you know, a lot of uh, artwork, cover art across both publishing companies. But I just feel like it's a little bit more manageable because again, you just have a 14-year window to concentrate on, and yeah, again, there's a large body of stuff there, but manageable if you do focus on trying to collect everything. All right, moving on. We were very fortunate to get Lila. Michael Turner got to work on an arc. Uh, this character who's a Kryptonian, but they were kind of she was targeted and kind of tortured as a prisoner and has this complex relationship with Superman during this arc, and Superman's still able to like connect with her and convince her, hey, there's a better way, and she sees that at the end. And then again, there's this illusion that she might have died or might have survived. But I don't think we've seen the last of Lila. Something tells me, like, I think enough of the fandom and readership needs to be like, hey, let's bring Lila back. Um, but look at, oh man, Michael Turner is just one of the best to ever do comic book art. And I think where his forte is drawing his style of good girl, um, if you want to say good girl or bad girl art, uh, sort of a kind of a hybrid of both, right? And man, can you just do the feminine figure? It's incredible how beautiful his feminine characters are. And we're gonna get case in point a lot of this in this list, but starting us up at 9 here, it's beautiful Lila cover here for Action Comics 813. And this is another just cool, iconic cover. This is the last part of that Homecoming, or it's called Godfall story arc. And again, you have Lila here, you got Superman, you got these light cycles that are introduced, Kryptonian light cycles. Really cool stuff, kind of broadening the Kryptonian lore and the Kandorian lore in this run. And man, yeah, just Michael Turner just showing you he can do all aspects of comic books as well. And this is just a beautiful cover here. This is a cool one because it has the Jim Lee sketch of upcoming Superman work for his run on Superman. So pretty key in terms of Jim Lee collections as well. And happy to have it. Boom. All right, now we're getting into this Batman or Superman Batman run. And again, this is another, probably, in my opinion, Michael Turner's best work in comic books. It was at the height of his, or the peak of his career, peak of his talent, peak of his sort of notoriety. He brings us Superman, Batman, and the return of Kara, Supergirl. Again, it's a story that really focuses on Supergirl and what she means to Superman in this sort of isn't she kind of storyline, like, is she here for good, or is she being manipulated? Is she uh, kind of the antichrist kind of figure, come destroy the world? Uh, and of course, Superman just steadfastly defends her, kind of blind to what's being presented, kind of just blindly defends her. But in the end, right, he's proven right, and Kara saves the day. So uh, just a great run, great story, some of the best sequential comic book art you'll ever see in comic books. And when I say, like, you're obviously artists in the past, the evolution of comic books in terms of story, artwork, and everything, I just feel like this is like peak, right? It's peak. It peaked here at the turn of the millennium through Michael Turner's artwork. I honestly believe this is one of the greatest, you know, pieces of comic book works in the history of the medium. And it's just peak in every form. Like, it's a great story. It's a great brings in a lot of characters. Um, it stays true to sort of the continuity of what came before it. And again, you just have the Trinity at the core of this story as they try to, they're trying to figure out, who this character is, why she's um, kind of doing the things she's kind of being driven to do, and at the same time, trying to kind of protect um, all parties involved. Uh, and just again, peak comic book stuff. I rarely have read things better than this. But now, obviously there's been great comic books throughout the history. Um, Obviously, you can point to Byrne, Claremont. You can point to Cochran, Claremont. Those early X-Men, new X-Men stories. You can also point to the Death of Superman. That's a great one. You can point to um, a whole slew of just, like, there was the Batman story arcs, right? There was during my collecting period that were really great. The Daredevil story arc, those are great. That's peak writing and drama as well. But yeah, again, I've read all of those, and I just think this run here just takes the cake in terms of uh, the comic book storytelling that's going on. And the reason I tend to believe this is, like, better than anything again I've ever read is because of the artwork like this. When you have artwork like this, like moving the story, it's just hard to beat. It's really hard to beat. Um, I mean, this is, you just can't beat it. Look at that. Just look at how freaking peak that is. You just can really get in there. See all the detail. That is incredible stuff. So more from this run. Look at that cover right there. Look at that. Look at the rage in Superman right there. Jeez, that's just peak stuff right there. And then boom. Look at that. Incredible. Just breathtaking right there. And this is just the cover work, man. And the interiors are just so much more incredible. And then I'm going to drop a Justice League of America cover on you. Look at that cover, man. That is peak as well. Look at that. That Superman and Wonder Woman. Nobody can do better than that. Nobody. This is just that he's in a league all by himself. You know, I mean, you could compare him to like a Jordan. He's like the GOAT. You know, Jordan didn't play. He didn't have a very long career, but man, did he make the most of his. I wouldn't say a short career, but it's like a medium career. Let's put it that way. Um, it's kind of what Turner is. He just like he had a medium career, but man, did he do so much during that period. All right, back to we're at number 4 now. Man, we just went through these really, really quick, but number 4 on the list. Oh man, that man can't beat it. I think the only criticism you can make of this is that he seems a little waifish for Supergirl, right? But as you'll see probably in the upcoming Gun movie, they got a waif of a girl to play Supergirl. And I think that's what makes Supergirl in any kind of visual element. When you see like a skinny little girl just kind of like doing feats of super strength where you're like taking down things much bigger than you, much more powerful on face value than you. It just creates that like wow factor. And so I think this was intentional to make her just this sort of like very obviously toned but kind of waifish uh, ladylike figure, but the immense power behind it. So just incredible. And I mean, this is just incredible stuff right there. Right? Man, look at that suit. Just incredible. The minute, creating that midriff there. Oh man. Ain't no one doing it better. And here is number 2 on my list. This, if you don't fall in love with this cover, there's something wrong with you. I mean, just stare into these eyes long enough and tell me you just can't, right? It's just like boom. It's like you've fallen head over heels for this cover. And this to me just first of all, there's a sketch cover, which is great. But the color, you need the color on this one. The color is what really just makes her pop here, brings her to life. I think the sketch cover has its its value as well in terms of artwork, but yeah, I just prefer this colored version here with the red, her wrapped in this red sort of like golden kind of light with her Kryptonian hope symbol there. And just the eyes, man, look at the eyes. Just shining bright like diamonds there. Doesn't get any better than that. And this is why, again, one of the best to ever do it. Seriously, one of the best to ever do it. All right. And then that's not number 1. Number 1, this Superman cover is just one of the best Superman covers to ever hit the pages of the book. And it's a variant cover. The variant to Jim Lee's run. But man, look at the first off the colors here. I think I mentioned this is peak comic books, right? This is the color palettes they're using here. This is a lot of the digital coloring they've incorporated into comic books. And I say that digital coloring actually has enhanced coloring in comic books just because you're able to create all this gradation in terms of shading and really create like um like movie like effects to a comic book page. Um so much just like realism here in terms of the lighting and everything. Really, really again an advancement that I think has only helped comic books, and it came about around this period. Well, it came about earlier, but it really kind of hit its mark with work like this. And now you see it; it's just so commonplace in today's modern industry. Not all companies do it to this degree, but DC obviously had hit um, the right notes, and DC continues to, I think, in terms of coloring, incorporate some of the best coloring we've seen yet in comic books. Now, you see it in other titles here and there, but DC across the board, I think, consistently just knows how to um, create the best effects with the colorists that they use, or the techniques that um, are being incorporated at DC. So, absolutely incredible. And yes, I do have a signed copy of this one. I feel very fortunate to have it because it is just peak Superman. Peaks. I don't know what I don't know if you can like in terms of the House of L. We're talking about artists that the House of L would commission to do its you know family portraits or something. Like the uh, you know commissioning paintings of their legacy and whatnot. It would have to be Michael Turner because I mean, look at this. Look at the owls here, man. It's just peak stuff right there. All right, so we're gonna end this Michael Turner session with um, a book that I just recently added to the collection, and just to give some, you know, uh, just to give some background on what the book is. All right, Wilbur, have a good night, man. Just to give some background on what this piece is there's less than 299 copies of this, probably closer to 297, because I think the intention was to sign 299 copies, but for whatever reasons, I think he only ended up citing 297 and couldn't finish through 299. So, yeah, I think it's only numbered to 297. There are only like 297 copies, and the 298, 299 never got signed, but they're out there, right? Um, and so you're talking about Michael Turner signature pieces that's less than 300 copies out there, and I'm fortunate to own one of them, and it's on this incredible Michael Turner Millennium Edition, which just showcases uh, the artist and his work. And so I'm just going to show you the first off. I don't want to open the spine because it's I just want to keep this as um, kind of but there's the hand numbered and hand signed, and it's this beautiful sketch Look at that, how just vibrant that sketch looks. It just looks lifelike right there. And you got his signature there. So this is just an incredible piece. Just on the limited edition of this, the nature. Now there's a lot of this actually book that's signed, but this is not the limited edition signature. They're just signatures on the front. They're usually signatures on this purple part of the book. So there are a lot of copies of this, and he was able to sign these books for fans throughout the years, the few years that he, continued to battle during this period. But in terms of the actual, like, we're going to only release 299 copies. Again, when I came across this book this year, got this recently, it was a piece that I had to have. I kind of made an offer, and the guy accepted, and I was happy to have this for less than $50. Paid less than $50 for this, but I mean, what you're blessed with in this book is just a collection of his cover work, some of the stuff you've never before seen, sketches as well, just a plethora of Michael Turner artwork. And this is, again, a decade into his career. It's the post Superman Batman stuff I just showed, the independent stuff he's doing at the time. Just again, a fan's feature showcase of all the artwork and work he did over his, again, illustrious but short career. And this is my signature Michael Turner collectible in the collection, and I'm happy to show it to you. Again, one of 297 copies, and now this isn't a book you can get graded or anything. It's just a hardcover, no CGC on this thing, but pretty decent condition. It's obviously been kind of opened and looked at from time to time, but overall, just really nice condition there. There's Michael Turner there, doing what he does best, being a gangsta there. Michael Turner is a superhero. He fights the impossible battles. He perseveres. He doesn't give up. He inspires. Brad Meltzer, writer of DC's Identity Crisis. That's another great run that Michael Turner was able to gift the comic book community. Infinity Crisis, right? So, again, a lot of key works for Wildstorm, DC, and later he'd do some stuff with Marvel as well in terms of cover work, but highly sought after just because of his talent. And yeah, absolute legendary artist. Hey, what's up? What's up, B man? We gotta plan our next Kryptonian Council, man. We'll get on that before hopefully the year is out. But just showing off Michael Turner books, and I'm hoping to influence everybody. I don't think I need to influence. You either know or you don't know. Like, you either love Michael Turner or you just don't know. You can't hate Michael Turner. You just either don't know about him or you know and you love him. Those are the only two options, really. It's like either you're ignorant to this man's genius and career, or you're not. There you go, fellas. Enjoy that as we do a little something like this. All right, so that is my Michael Turner collection there in terms of top 10 Superman related books in the collection. And I gotta say, I had some pretty nice Superman Superman related books by Turner. And what's really cool about collecting Michael Turner is that these books are absolutely accessible. I mean, these you can get on any given day at your LCS retail $2, right? Um, the real skill is to get it for $1 or cheaper. I got a lot of these for 50 cents. And so, that's kind of where it's not an expensive book to, these aren't expensive books to add to your collection, but man, are they just, again, some of the most incredible comic books you'll ever read. And so I highly recommend, again, his Superman Batman run. That's just peak comic books. It's hard to, I can't think of a run that's better than that. And again, it's my opinion, it's my bias, but I honestly believe that. I'm just like, his artwork in Superman Batman with the reintroduction of Kara is just the best. It's just the best stuff. Absolutely peak comic books. And it's that way because of him. Like 90, I mean, I don't take anything away from Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb is a great writer and all that, but Jeff Loeb with even Jim Lee or any other, I mean, that book is just like mediocre at best, but with Turner on the panels, some of the best stuff you'll ever see in the industry. So hope everybody can go and read that, appreciate it, and hope everybody's encourages you to create a demand for Michael Turner books. Just he should be somebody. His books should be in everybody's collection. That's just how I feel. You should have a couple representative books of Michael Turner in your collection. If you for whatever reasons, I know people collect a lot of different things, but man, if you're not collecting Michael Turner artwork, there's something wrong with you. And I'm just saying that across the board. Just doesn't matter what you're into. Unless you're into like poorly drawn comic books. Okay, if you're into like just like where art doesn't matter to you, all you care about are like key instances in comic books or whatever's trending or whatever, gotta have like some app telling me what to buy. If that's the case, then yeah, Michael Turner might not be something worth putting in your collection. But if you just appreciate comic book art at its finest, gotta add it. You gotta put it in. All right, well, that's the end of this long holiday weekend. We got Christmas coming up. I'm going to try to get through this list while we still have time here, and also do my best pickups of 2024 or 2025, and we'll go take the year out on a high note. Turner did have some great flash covers as well. Again, we were blessed with. You can't complain that there's not enough Turner to collect. I mean, it's again, you can collect it all, but it's also kind of a challenge to do it because there's quite a body of work to draw from there. So we're fortunate in that regard. And man, just it's the ladies that's his forte right there. The ladies, man, just makes it look so effortless. Peak stuff, and this is as good as it gets in comic books. I'm serious. This is as good as it gets. It's like exactly why you read comic books. Just the flashy line work, anatomy, the poses, the action that's being, I mean, this kind of stuff, right? Just like a bunch of heroes flying at you different ways. That's just peak stuff right there. You just can't beat it. So hope everybody's on board with that. I'm coming back with my number four, top four artists throughout the rest of this month. So stay tuned. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Good night, B.